Welcome back to the Isle of Man. It's the final day of TT 2024, and today we'll bring you two of the three races that made up a packed, rejigged schedule. Later on we'll have the Super Twins, but first up, Monster Energy Super Sport Race 2, a class that Michael Dunlop has dominated in recent years, with 5 other bounds, including Race 1 last Saturday.
This is the man. Dunlop is absolutely flying here. It's been an absolutely brilliant day for Dunlop. He wins the first encounter of the week, and that is 26.
Yeah, famously that was Michael's 26th TT win. He's since made it 27 and he's the favourite to make it 28 today, although he has got plenty of competition. Grace Webb is amongst it on the grid.
I'm stood next to bike number 10, Peter Hickman's iconic Trooper Triumph. We'll just see if we can grab a quick word with the man himself. Hickey, we just wanted a few words from you because this race actually marks your 50th TT start.
Oh, there you go. I didn't know that.
You didn't even know that.
No idea.
Well, that's quite cool though, isn't it?
Yeah, really cool. I suppose what's even cooler, I think I got 30 podiums the other day, so out of 50 starts it's 30 podiums and 14 wins, so I guess that's not a bad record.
Not bad at all. But looking forward to this race, how are you feeling for this one? The first race didn't quite go your way. Are you looking more positively towards this one?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, quite obvious. The first one was rubbish, really, wasn't it, to be fair? But boys have been working really, really hard. They've made loads of changes to this bike, so fingers crossed. We've got a few more horsepower out of her, and we can be a bit closer. Yeah, we're gonna dig in like we always do. Try 110% and see what happens.
As always, thanks, Hickey.
Thank you.
Great to hear him speak so positively, especially after getting a result that he didn't quite want in the last race. Next to Peter Hickman, we've got Craig Neve, number 9. Now, we've not actually seen Craig on the grid very much because he had an incident in qualifying. I can't quite see Craig about, but there was a deck chair put out for him earlier. He seemed to be struggling with a bit of an injury, but it's great to see him back on the grid. Number 8, we've got Davey Todd on that Power Toolmate Ducati. We'll just squeeze around here, see if we can get a word from Davey. Now, this is quite an unknown bike around the TT course, but Davey managed to put it on the podium in the first race, so I'm sure the guys will be happy with that. Davey, if it's all right, just grab a quick word with you, mate. Thank you so much. We know you put that Ducati on the podium in the first race. Is that looking good for the team moving into the second race?
Yeah, the bike we haven't honestly changed at all. I can just ride it a lot better. I've learned a lot of things in the races so far this week. I'm excited to get back out and see what we can do in the second Super Sport race.
And so are we. Good luck for it, Davey.
Thank you.
We'll make our way up to the start of the grid, but for now we'll get to the commentary box.
Monster Energy Super Sport Race 2. This was how we started the week, and it starts the final day as we close off the 2024 TT. From the grandstand, around 37.73 miles, but Cam, because of a packed schedule today, only 2 laps. How's that going to change the approach of these riders?
These riders will not be able to waste a second. With only 2 laps, the pressure is on. There's no pit stop, and there's not the distance to make up for a poor start.
Paul Jordan leads us away, followed by Jamie Coward. Coward was quick in practice week, but of course retired from the first race. But this man, Dean Harrison, he had 10 podiums in a row, Cam, which is an outrageous record. It really is. That going right back to the last 2 races in 22, every race in 23, the first 2 this week, and then he missed it in Stockers. So I reckon Harrison, with a bit more seat time on the 600, should be up for a bit of a scrap here. And of course, Michael Dunlop, the winner of the first Supersport race, and with, I think, the monkey off his back now. Can he rack Uncle Joey? Can he beat him? That's done. I think it's going to free him up.
Well, this is the man that will want to put a stop to Dunlop's Super Sport streak. Davey Todd aboard the V2 Ducati. Very strong in that first race, and he's had a win since St Andrew. He is fired up, he wants another one.
Yeah, he really does, doesn't he? But that, like Dunlop and beating the record, you know, it just gets you into the mood of, I've done it. I know I can do it. Hickman knows he can do it. Of course, he's off the line as well. And you ride on board with James Hillier.
Back on board Kawasaki Machinery this year, James. Not to be overlooked in Supersport. Very fast competitor in this class.
Outrageous speed through there, it really is. The commitment is insane. Back with Hillier now.
Looking him out of Balagari, winding up towards Crosby. This is a 6-gear left-hand sweeper.
And here comes Dunlop. Harrison as well. Dean Harrison tucked right in. You said he spent a bit of time, haven't you, on the Superbike cam as he comes through Gorse lead. Spent a bit of time on the Superbike, a little bit of time on the Stocker, but not much time on the Supersport bike during practice week. They'll have gathered some data from those early outings.
They will. Supersport Race 1 was Dean's first Supersport race on board a Honda. Quite incredible that he ended up on the podium. As we look to see Michael Dunlop in the commitment, just like every other lap we see him in Supersport, absolutely tucked in to the max.
Here comes David Todd, who was so strong on the Ducati earlier this week. Cam, with a win under his belt, you've had that. How's it feel when you finally tick that box?
Well, leading up to your first win, you believe that you can beat the competition, but once you've done it, you know it confirms it, and it just gives you that extra bit of confidence to do it again.
Gray spoke to Pete Hickman, didn't start this one. 30 podiums, 14 wins from this his 50th start. That's practically a third of the races won, 2/3 of the races on the podium. The talent at the top of the TT at the minute is deep and very, very strong.
And that's why any win is so hard fought. As we've seen James Hillier, he's made short work of Ian Hutchinson.
And here comes Michael Dunlop. Still those wet patches through there. We saw Todd standing the bike up on the inside line. That's not possible now. The water's running over the road. Here comes Todd into the Glen Helen section.
Well, up the inside of Josh Brooks on the way through what was Glen Helen 1, now Rutted.
Yeah, great to see that, named after the famous TT family. Here is Toddler on that tight line again. He doesn't use the road on the exit, but it is a bit wetter on the inside, as we said.
Josh Brooks probably picked up a little line tip from there. Look at the splits. Michael Dunlop leaving Davey Todd by just 0.5 of a second. James Hillier 0.1 down. Dean Harrison, oh my goodness, you can throw a cigarette paper over them.
Yeah, you could. That is less than a second between the top four. That is incredibly tight. Hopefully going to have a full-on scrap on our hands. Full sprint, as Cam said earlier, there is no time to warm up into this one. With it only being 2 laps, you've got to light the fuse as soon as you head down Glen Crutchery Road.
On the first Supersport encounter, it was Dean Harrison that led into Glen Helen on the first lap. He was always so quick out of the blocks, but the others are going with him today.
Hillier tucked in and looking strong here, looking really committed, isn't he?
He does, and he's always a smooth rider, James, but he just looks so at home on that ZX6 Kawasaki.
You're on board with Ian Hutchinson, 16 times a win around here, and in the background that is Dunlop. Here he is from the outside, closing Hutchie down. Wheelies the Yamaha over the crest.
Davey Todd, listen to that Ducati. Big booming V twin, it just sounds menacing.
And that's new to the class this year, of course, isn't it? With the update to the regs.
Yeah, it is, and it's just so good to see Ducati back out there racing at the front.
James Hillier is in Ramsey already. He's coming up now to take the left-hander at White Gates, and he will continue his climb up towards the timing line around Stella Maris and the Ramsey hairpin, which is coming up here. Here he goes.
How neat does that retro paint job look? Whoa! James Hillier looking over his shoulder there. Whoa, and now in hot under brakes, crosses up. That is not a spot you would normally look back. Maybe he thought Michael Dunlop was closer than he actually is.
Dunlop doesn't look back in his traditional place. He's only got his eyes forward. And so as this man Todd through White Gates is chasing Dunlop, the gap actually went up at the lap to 0.8 from 0.5 at Glen Helen. As he managed to stem the flow, we'll see in a moment. Hopefully Todd up to the hairpin. No, 1.5. So Dunlop took 3/10 in the previous sector, and then he's taken a further, 7/10 on the run up to Ramsey, and that has been one of his favourite sectors to nail his opponents this week, Cam.
Yeah, it certainly has, and the competition cannot allow him to make that time. It's such a short race. We've only got 2 laps. They have to keep pushing. They can't let the competition get away.
You need to respond immediately, don't you?
Amy Coward aboard the 765 Triumph, Paul Jordan behind, and there's Dean Harrison, our 3rd place man, only 3.5 seconds off Michael Dunlop in the lead.
Dunlop catching up to Hillier. Hillier is just 3.8, I think the gap was, we saw at Bungalow, and he's going to go up the inside, is he? Dunlop gets almost alongside. Is he going to know he's there, Cam?
That's the thing, Andrew, on this high-speed section over the mountain, the wind buffeting and noise around your helmet is so loud it can be very difficult to hear a bike that's right next to you.
Dunlop tries again. He's desperate to get past Hillier. Hillier had that look back, but in Stella Maris, he's looked over his left shoulder. He won't have seen Dunlop, so maybe he doesn't realise how close he is. Here's Todd who's chasing him. Was Todd going to set the time at the split here? 2.7. So the gap is going up. If we see a gaggle of bikes now, that's Harrison that's managed to get past Jordan, but he's following Coward on the exit at Cregny Bar. They're headed towards the end of the lap, on board with Hillier. So Dunlop's got through.
Yep, he has made his way past and he couldn't wait. Whoa! Michael Dunlop is back. What's happened there?
Hillier's come back past him. That is really unusual. They come past Cates. This is the run to Cregny Bar. Watching in the background, Dunlop pulls out now, looking to the inside line. Oh, he nods his head. So is he annoyed with Hillier or has he made a mistake and he's annoyed with himself?
I would say
Mystic
had some
here.
sort of a moment and
Hillier now moves over.
Hillier's moved over. What a sportsman-like act to let Michael back past. I'd say Michael must have had some sort of moment for Hillier to be able to pass in that section.
Buzzing down the Glencrutchy Road, look how tight that is. Oh, flip it. I'm turning for that one. God, dear. Do you know what? It is aggro, you know, when those guys are buzzing around together. It may hold them up a little bit and slows the lap times down. Obviously, it's going to be pending the last lap, but do you know what? They need to get out on the road and get some space to get those big laps in to get down to the flag. Back to you, mate.
Well, the gap's actually come down to 0.7, so did that mistake or the pass from here cost Dunlop a little bit of time? We have one lap to go to see who's going to win Super Sport Race 2. Back to the Monster Energy Super Sport TT Race 2. You're looking at Michael Dunlop, who leads. Looked like he made a mistake towards the end of the previous lap, but I tell you what, Harrison's gone up in front of Todd now. There was 0.7 between Dunlop and Todd at Cronky Body, but as they've come past the grandstand, that is how they stand. 1.3 between the top three. Harrison here going to try and chase him down as he's in behind, no, that's Coward in behind Harrison.
That's right. Remember what we saw in Super Sport Race 1 where Jamie Coward repassed Dean Harrison a couple of times. So let's hope those two don't start tripping each other up as we see Michael Dunlop, James Hillier, not that far behind.
Hillier had another little look back. Dunlop's support here is enormous, isn't it? Everybody again fist pumping over the wall. We've got very used to seeing that this week. Here you are with Hillier, who keeps having a little check behind him, and he doesn't need to right now, Cam. There is nobody in his rearview mirrors if he had any.
No, but he'll be still pushing on because he's right up there battling for a top 5 position.
You're on board with Ian Hutchinson, outside the top 10 at the moment.
Not where Hutchie would used to be, but first year back after a break, he'll just be clocking those laps.
Good to see him back too. Hickman tucked in. He is P4, but 5.6 off the podium places. It's going to be a bit tricky, I think, for him to close that down in one lap, looking at how the front guys are going.
Josh Brooks, Pete Hickman's teammate on the big bikes, but not in Supersport.
Harrison, look at the body language there from Dean Harrison, who is in the mix for this win and wants to get back on the podium. Can that, we spoke about it earlier, an outrageous record of podiums for Harrison, showing as the leader, but remember we're waiting for Dunlop to come through. Glen Helen, here he is. Let's see what the gap is. 1.7, so it's a little bigger.
Michael's starting to push again, but we saw before, he looks like he did make a small mistake, just maybe giving us an indication of how hard Michael Dunlop is trying.
He wins 3 today. If he can win all 3 races today, which is Super Sport, Super Twin, and then the Senior, it would give him 30. It would be equal to Hutchie in 5 in a week. Nobody has ever won 3 in one day. This is a big ask of all the riders, but he's on for it at the minute as we see Davey Todd stand the bike up through the wet patches, and Harrison.
Not able to drop Jamie Coward though at this stage. Jamie's doing very well to hold on to the scorching hot pace that Dean Harrison's setting.
From the heli, love seeing them down that previous shot coming through the bottom of the Garrow. Here is Harrison. That cup's closed back up a bit, hasn't it?
It appears to. Now, Dean Harrison, that new CBR 600 Honda has been a little bit down on top speed through the speed traps, but his entrance speed and commitment to corners has been second to none.
Yeah, absolutely flying. Can't wait to see what Harrison does, assuming everything continues with the factory Hondas for next year as we see Paul Jordan coming through.
Yeah, Paul on board Hondas as well this year with the Jackson Racing Team. Very professional privateer outfit.
Always interesting to me, Cam, the way so many riders switch between teams, not between seasons, but actually at one TT. You know, they'll rock well. Okay, good example here. Different machinery. Oh, Todd sliding through the left-hander on the Ducati.
Wow, up through Rencullen, he is pushing hard. Yes, you're right, and that is true. Riders riding multiple manufacturers in the same event is literally unheard of in motorsport.
Yeah, some riding different teams as well. Here's a good example. Peter Hickman riding his own Trooper Triumphs by PHR. Where, of course, he rides with BMW FHO on the big bikes.
Michael Dunlop at 1 with his MD Racing Yamaha.
Up at Ramsey, Harrison still being followed closely by Jamie Coward. They use a lot of the road in Stella Maris.
Jamie Coward hanging on to Dean ahead of him like a dog after a bone.
Paul Jordan comes through, and now, of course, Michael Dunlop.
Michael Dunlop looking smooth, Andrew. Smoother than we often see him. Doesn't look quite as physical on the bike. It's still super fast.
Look at that, through there. It's just poetry in motion, isn't it? Late on the brake. See if he has a look over his shoulder. The gap is out to 4.6. Not far to go. No need for a look back either. He's got 13 miles to the finish for number 29.
To ride aboard Davey Todd, the man we thought may be able to take it to Michael Dunlop in this Supersport race. Still a fantastic, strong ride by Davey aboard this Ducati. Only second race here, so they'd still be learning the machine and the base setup.
Love it. Love the noise. Just epic to hear different machinery here again. Hickman coming through. Not quite able to challenge in this one.
No, Pete's made a heap of changes with this bike since race 1. And he's a couple of positions higher in this race, but not in podium contention as we would usually expect.
Yeah, 8.4 off at this point on the way into the hairpin. He's going to scrap with Coward. Look, Coward's only a second behind him, but we know people want to be podium as an absolute minimum. Up onto the mountain section, and this is Dunlop pushing for that 29th win. Who's your money on, Cam? Looking at senior. Can he go 30 wins in senior? Well, of course, he's got the twin in between times, but the senior's the big one. I'm wondering about people's confidence. 2, maybe 3 wins to Dunlop, 1 to Hickman, 1 to Todd this week.
Yeah, well, it is certainly all to play for, but Michael Dunlop seems to be getting on a roll.
Todd with 172 in the speed trap. So the Ducati's quick, isn't it? That's at the end of Solby Straight. It's got outright top speed.
Oh, Michael's catching Paul Jordan through the bungalow. This is almost a carbon copy of where he caught James Healy last lap. But of course, he does have the luxury now of a 4+ second lead that should take the pressure off him, get past Paul on his Honda.
Yeah, 4.8. And look at this, the slingshot he has got through there. That's how you get it done.
Yep, there's no stopping Michael on that Yamaha at the moment. He is flying. He's just building speed as he heads over that mountain back with Davey Todd.
See where he slots in. Harrison was 4.8 back. Is Todd going to be in the mix? He is 1.9. So it's still on for P2 between Todd and Harrison. There's not far to go. Todd, we know, liked this section the other day. He made some time up right at the end of the lap at 1.9. Yeah, it's close enough.
Oh, the Halley shot just demonstrating perfectly how hard Dean Harrison is riding that CBR 600 Honda.
Hickman through Bungalow. Oh, look at that. Just backing a tiny little bit, getting rotation in the middle of the corner. Lovely stuff.
Dean Harrison, you can see he wants to get back on that podium, Andrew.
Here he is on the run down to Craigny Bar. Coward is still with him. Oh, mark on the number plate there on the front of Harrison's machine cam.
Yep, bit of bird strike, I would say, but it's going to take more than that to stop Dean Harrison getting back on the Isle of Man TT podium.
You can see at the side there on the exit, he had his pit board up. Watch for Dunlop's here as well. This is somewhere Michael Dunlop nearly always has a pit board on the left-hand side. Looky, there it is. Up it comes, P1 plus 4.8, lap 0. So 0 laps to go. This is for your number 28, Michael. Keep it lit to the line. Over the finish line comes Dean Harrison. He was 4.3 down on Dunlop, so that's looking pretty safe. It's going to be about him versus Todd at the end of the lap. Here he comes then. Michael Dunlop. He's done the Supersport double. That makes it 6 Supersport wins in a row. It's his 3rd win this week. It's his 28th career victory. And he is still on to break a ton more records. He might be able to make it 30 by the end of the day. Dunlop takes Supersport race 2. encounter from Dean Harrison and Davey Todd. Coward, Hickman and Hillier round out your top 6.
A 28th TT win for Michael Dunlop. How did you find it?
That's great, you know, that's like, I think 6 Supersport races now in a row, so fantastic. The Yamaha is working real well. And bike was running, man. Team worked fantastically hard. Fair play to the lads. It was been a bit of not looking around, but hanging around this week. And yeah, thanks to all the boys, to all the sponsors. Everybody helps me. They're all here. I think they're all here and put on a show for them.
Over the moon to get the little CBR 600 into second place. And it was a close race for us. My pit board was moving all the time. I had a P4, I think, my first pit board, and a P3, P2, back to P3. So I knew there were 3 4s again that were real tight. And I tried to figure out where the damp patches were the first lap, and then I sort of tried to make a mental log of that for the following lap, and then just rode as hard as I could back to the line. I could feel Jamie slipstreaming me and pulling me back, and I was screaming, "No, please don't slow me down anymore down the straights." But no, happy with that.
Worked my way around and happy to be back in the box for the Power Toolmate Ducati team. They've done a great job all week, and a couple of podiums on that Ducati with a new bike coming to the TT. I'm really over the moon with that.
Congratulations, Davey.
Thank you. Cheers.
So Michael Dunlop makes it 6 in a row in the Super Sports, and now he has another record in sight. Ian Hutchinson's 5 in a week from 2010. Race 2 for the Super Twins is coming up next.
I'm next to bike number 1, which belongs to Paul Jordan. He sets off first on the road for this race. We'll just squeeze around here to see if we can get a quick word with Paul. Unfortunately, Paul, you retired from the first Super Twin race. Do you feel ready to come back and fight for this one?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. You know, we had a small technical error in the first race. We lost a bit of power as such, so hopefully we can sort of redeem ourselves and just have a bit of fun and try and put a bit of fight to these boys.
That sounds good. And this year is the first year you've been setting off as number 1. How's that been for you?
Yeah, I thought I'd be more nervous. It's more overwhelming than anything when you go down in there and there's just me and nobody else there. So it's yeah, it's good. Anyway, I'm honoured, the privilege of being number 1, and hopefully it won't be the first and it won't be the last.
That's great, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, as we move along, we'll try and squeeze through all these people. It is a busy grid. We've got Jamie Coward up next, number 2. Now, he's actually riding a Kawasaki, so we'll just see if we can grab a quick word with Jamie. Are you feeling good for this one?
Yeah, I feel really good, yeah. The bike's good. Just made a bit of a boo-boo the first lap in the first race, so we'll try and improve on that, and then we'll just see where we are then. I'm loving that first Super Sport race, really good today, so fingers crossed we can just carry that on. You know, it's I'm enjoying it out there. It's good. It's nice to see so many people about as well. So yeah, we'll just see how we go.
You sounded a really good place, Jamie. Thank you. Pierre-Yves Vian. Now he has had a lot of success in this class, so we'll just see how he's feeling. Pierre, are you feeling good for this one? We know you like this class. Can we expect another top 10 finish from you?
Yeah, I love this class. Last year was a very good moment with the podium. But I try my best this year. It's special because I'm injured and other, but I'm very happy to be here. And I give my best like all the time.
And next to Pierre, we've got Michael Rutter. How are you feeling for this Super Twin race?
Yeah, the Baden's bike's been good actually this year. We've had no problems with it. We could do with a bit more speed. We're about 5 or 6 miles an hour down on the other bikes, but we've done a little bit to it. We might get 1 or 2 miles an hour out of it. And I think I need to dock myself 20 years, and I think we could be up the front then.
Good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
We'll be watching from down here, so for now, up to the commentary box.
Well, there we go, then the bike's about to roll out into no man's land, that section between the grid and the start line. And the start line, of course, leads us down to Quarterbridge, Union Mills, Ballagary, Crosby. You know the score by now if you've been watching all week. We're coming towards the end of TT 2024, and Super Twin should give us another great battle. 2 laps, 75.46 miles, all about momentum. We see the first two off the line, Paul Jordan and Jamie Coward. Paul Jordan retired in that first one. Jamie Coward was P4. He had a podium last year, of course. And here comes Michael Dunlop, the winner of race 1. Can he do the same again here?
He's a man we'll be watching. He's certainly been on form in this class, strongest in literally every session, and of course including the first race where he was dominant. That's Dom Herbertson. Now there's another rider that recorded his first ever podium in the first Super Twins race. Great rider, improved massively at this TT.
Peter Hickman off the line on the 700cc Yamaha with the classic Swan Racing livery. Now he was P2 earlier in the week, and of course last year he won the second of the Super Twin encounters. Dunlop down at Quarter Ridge, but Hickman, they wanted to do some work on that. We got the impression he liked the way it was riding, didn't we, earlier in the week, but that there was more to come in terms of the engine. Maybe they'll take a bit more of a risk in this second encounter.
Correct, they may be able to afford to do that. Last year we saw several of the front runners, Michael Dunlop, have a mechanical failure on the last lap. Mike Brown then took the lead, he had a mechanical failure, so this race being scheduled for 2 instead of the 3 laps would be better off for all.
Here is Mike Brown. Talking of him, you had just mentioned him. Cam had a great run last year until he had those mechanicals. Look at this, still physical, chucking the bike around, but you need that momentum on the exit everywhere. And this man, Michael Dunlop, was 21 seconds pretty much up the road in the first Super Twin race, so he's got to be favourite.
Yeah, and he just works so well on that pattern machine. Now back on board with Pete Hickman from the R7 Yamaha. Just look how difficult it is to see for Pete as we head down to Gorsley. That strobing effect, sun, shade, makes it so difficult to see, let alone when you're looking through a helmet visor and screen half covered in flies.
Yeah, of course, much more like practice week in terms of time of day with the delays as we see Jamie Coward slotting up the inside of Paul Jordan. So Coward has caught Jordan on the road already. Nice easy pass.
Yeah, Paul Jordan could learn a lot from sitting behind Jamie Coward for a while, Jamie being one of the most experienced competitors in this class.
Michael Dunlop leads at Glen Helen then by 3.5 seconds on lap 1. That's an incredible first sector. Coward P3, 1.2 back. It's Mike Brown who's 0.4 off. And then look at Dominic Herbertson podium the other day, and he's 0.05 of a second off the back of Brown. So there's less than half a second between P3 and P5.
And we've got 4 manufacturers with Michael Dunlop on the pattern, Pete Hickman on the Yamaha, Jamie Coward on the Kawasaki, and Mike Brown on the Aprilia. How awesome is that?
Fantastic battle over these 2 laps. No chance again, Cam. You know, the same as we saw with the Supersport race earlier. You can't play tactics when it's a real sprint. Some people would argue 3 laps is a sprint, but 2 definitely is. No warm-up, get in there.
No, but to keep it in perspective, although it's a sprint, just 2 laps, that's still nearly 500 corners around the TT course.
What a place. These machines as well, we've already said they're highly stressed. Cam, you know, you could argue this is the entry class into solos here, but it's by no means an entry budget. They are highly modified machines, aren't they?
Well, the pattern of Kawasaki are, but there, Mike Brown on the Aprilia. Now, you can buy that as a customer race bike, the RS660, and that is putting out close to 100 horsepower off the showroom floor. That's a really obtainable option for those wanting to race in this class without a lot of modification.
We are now looking at, from the heli, Dom Herbertson chasing down Davey Todd. He had that podium the other day. You're on board with Todd. And there goes Herbertson. I hate to say it looks easy, that's not fair, but he's pulling away already.
He certainly is. Have a look at the back of that pattern, running twin shock absorbers, something we're traditionally used to seeing on more a classic or a retro bike, but that pattern is far from that. Is absolute latest technology, but still utilising that old school twin shock design.
So here come Coward and Jordan still together.
Coward on the Kawasaki puts out about 72 horsepower standard. Jordan on the Yamaha puts out about 79 horsepower standard. Fully tuned like this, both bikes would be expected to be up closer to 100 horsepower, so quite strange.
Into the hairpin, now running out the other side. Oh!
The other side, Jamie Coward was on the other side of the white line on the exit of the hairpin.
He was running that like a berm, wasn't he? That's Pierre Bian, and behind him, Michael Dunlop.
Both pattern mounted. The pattern engine actually based on the Kawasaki 650, but quite wholly modified by the Italian pattern motorcycle manufacturer.
Pierre Bian was P10 earlier on in the week, and with that P2 last year, I think would be looking for a better result here. Currently sitting in P4.
There's Dom the Bomb Herbertson, and he's still got Davey Todd close behind him.
Todd wasn't very happy on the twin, was he, earlier on in the week, but he did have a little look to the inside here.
And Don Herbertson, after his first podium, he'll want to be back there again.
Here comes Pete Hickman, so let's see where Hickman is. He's 8.9 down on Dunlop, so Dunlop is stretching out that lead. Ramsey Hairpin then, now comes the climb, and on these small bikes, if it's fair to call them that, I think 100 horsepower is pretty significantly different to Superbike and Superstock. Momentum up here is absolutely everything.
Pete Hickman aboard the R7, parked in and working his way up that mountain. He would be taking a similar line that he would on a Super Sport or the Superbike, just doing it at a few less miles per hour.
Gotta keep it smooth, scrub, no speed off. Talk us through this.
Yeah, as we head up towards Guthrie's, chasing that white line up the middle of the road, flicking it, use a bit more of the road and then some. Get it in tight, camber drops away there, pick the throttle up, standing the bike up on the tyre to increase that contact patch as you increase the amount of horsepower you're putting through the tyre.
There you go. That is a man who's won 2 TTs for an Ed Cameron Donald, you legend. Great to have you alongside. Still together, Coward and Jordan. Sometimes I think it must be frustrating when you get past and then you go with the rider in front, but that's what it's like when you're able to follow. You can, if you're not winning, you're learning.
That's a huge part of racing at the TT, as we see there, Paul Jordan picking up the slipstream as they work their way up Harwood Heights.
Fantastic shots from the heli.
And as a rider, it's the calibre of Paul Jordan. He'll be learning now all the way along. Whoa, hang on a minute. Jamie Coward's got an issue. He's got a problem. He's set up. He's put his hand out.
So he's pulled out. The hand is to let the riders behind know that you have a technical issue. You've got to, whatever the problem is. Well, he hasn't dropped completely off the back cam.
It doesn't look like a catastrophic failure. Otherwise, he would have pulled off course immediately. He's still travelling, but he's lost a lot of time. As the rider's heading to Red Cullen here, look, rolling off as you come over the crest, so you're getting airborne, but as you're closing the throttle, the weight transfers forward, lifting the back tyre off the ground. Really tricky part of course.
Dunlop coming down to Cregny Bar.
Leg off.
Oh, that's late. Pitches are in. Have a look on the left. Is the pit board there?
Oh,
there it is.
On the white line, as per usual. Now we're riding on board with Peter Hickman. He's heading down now towards Kate's Cottage. Busy catching up to a head-on road. Is that Dom, the Bomb Herbertson?
It's so quick through Kate's there, isn't it? And it just, I guess, the smaller bikes, not quite so much acceleration, barely a roll-off through there.
No, it's not. And the slipstream, even more important.
Proper gaggle of bikes here then. It's Josh Brooks, followed by Dominic Herbertson, then Peter Hickman. Oh,
Dom looks back, he'll see Pete's there. Oh, look at that camera, you can even see the tread of Dominic Herbertson's tyre. That is quite incredible as they make their way down towards Brandish in a high-speed freight train.
Herbertson with that podium last time out. Hickman was up there too. Can anyone challenge though? Michael Dunlop, he's got a significant lead right now.
Here we go in the distance. Here we go for the first one flying down through the grandstand. There's Paul Jordan. There you go. Buzzing down there on the R7, looking good. Obviously going much better than the first race. Now, of course, waiting on Michael Dunlop to come through. He's going to be pushing very hard. This is his favourite class, and we'll just see how quick he's going down the Glen Crutchery Road. He's always going harder and harder. Here we go. I can hear a pattern coming. Here you go again. He just looks so much faster and more aggressive. This is his class, and this is his race to lose. Back to you guys.
Indiana, the start-finish line was down in P7 at Crompney Motor. Now you see Michael Dunlop at Quarterbridge with a 27-second lead. It won't be that when everybody's come through. So Hickman will cross the timing line any moment now. He does, so he's 6.4 down, but he's in a little bit of traffic here. That's Josh Brooks in front of him as he comes down Bray Hill. He's not going to get through until maybe after Agos.
Yamaha versus Yamaha. Now, don't forget, these are Superbike and Superstock teammates here, riding for different teams in the Super Twin race. But that won't matter. Pete needs to get past whoever it is.
Can't pass on the left-hander here, which is in the brakes, comes down to the bottom. And as they come into Quarterbridge, where's he going to get through? And Brooks has yielded. Brooks moves over, that's released Pete Hickman. He's got a lap to go and he's got to try and find 6.5 seconds to beat Dunlop. Super Twin Race 2. And despite the fact this is a time trial, we've got a race on the road here because Herbertson has gone back past Hickman.
Wow, he is on a push. That is fantastic to see, but can he pull 10 seconds on him? Because Pete has already closed up that gap. Dom's going to have a job on his hand.
Oh, that is Rob Hodson sideways coming into Cregny Bar. Cam, he's running a long way back from where we would expect him to be on the road.
That's right, he couldn't get the bike started. So he actually headed off last, but you don't start until you cross the timing beam. So on reallocated time, he's still back up there and in with a shot of a top 5.
Fantastic. Going to have to fight for it. You're on board with Pierre-Yves Bihan, the podium finisher last year. I'll say P10 earlier on this week. There's that wet section in Glen Helen. With the momentum bikes, you carry as much speed as you can over the top of that crest, and you can't run too wide. Peter Hickman.
Back on board with Pete, tucking that lanky frame into that R7 with ease.
He really does have to get tucked in, doesn't he, to make the most of the pairing. And there it is there, look at it running, normally laying down lines of rubber on the exit, this time dragging just that little bit of dampness away. They're warned before they head out, they know where it is, but it's still tricky.
It's not tricky for Michael Dunlop though, because he's continuing to push. The gap's out to 9.7 now from Peter Hickman for that lead rider, Michael Dunlop.
Dominic Herbertson, he's no longer with Hickman. You're looking at Paul Jordan. Now we're on board with Hickman. This is Michael Rutter in front of him. This is a proper slipstream. Here you go, tuck it in, make use of that extra slingshot when they're making the hole in the air and Hickman just slide past. Really nicely done on an ideal part of the circuit to make a pass on the twins.
Carrying that speed off the end of Cronkabody Straight.
Dunlop at the lap bridge, Cam, is showing on lap record pace. Surely he's not going to go for the lap record on lap 2 here and strain the engine right the way to the line.
Well, he must be feeling comfortable. We're seeing he's catching Paul Jordan here, and if he's going for the lap record, he won't want to waste any time getting past. This is quite incredible to
Come on,
he'll keep
Michael.
pushing this hard. He doesn't need to.
Wow, just straight through. So a decisive move from Dunlop. Can he get the lap record as well as keeping himself on for 29 wins? 5 this week, 30 if he won the senior as well. It's an incredible performance. Into the right-hander here, down at Ramsey.
He certainly is looking so fast and just using all the road, curb to curb, but still keeping it super smooth.
I quite like the fact he doesn't want to lift. You know, people go, no, you've got to get the record, you've got to get the win, but I like the fact he wants the lap record as well. I mean, we don't know what he's thinking, do we? Dunlop's quite hard to read at all times, but I love the fact if he's feeling good, he's just going to push anyway.
Yeah, we're not sure what he's thinking, but we know one thing, that he is not slowing down.
Oh, the split comes in. He's up to, well, down to 7 seconds under his own lap record pace. He's taken another 4 in that last sector from Palaf to Ramsey Hairpin. Wow.
We're potentially going to see a 123 plus mile an hour lap on a Super Twin.
Here comes Hickman. Herbertson with him. Herbertson's confidence will be high, knowing that he can follow Hickman now. And again, you had the podium the other day. It's like Todd with the win. It just opens up that confidence. I can do this. I can go with it.
Absolutely, and Herbertson is riding and keeping pace with Pete Hickman, 14 times TT winner. That has to be good for your confidence.
Fans up close to the side of the road. Been treated to some decent weather on this final day to get a packed schedule out of the way. Just the senior to come after this twin race.
Davey Todd making his way up the mountain there. Now back on board, Mike Brown on that Aprilia. Listen to the little RS660.
Look at the lean angle, Cam. The onboard just gives us such a better perspective of how hard cranked over that is. Into the hairpin, and away he goes.
Oh, Michael Dunlop. He's either on his way to a lap record or on his way into orbit, launching that Pattern 650.
Hickman up on the mountain, fully tucked in. Hasn't been able to do anything about that gap out to Michael Dunlop. Dunlop could be rolling off if he wanted to on the run down to the finish for what would be a 29th win. But at the minute, he's on lap record pace. Here he comes through to the bungalow, still absolutely on the pike.
Back on board with Pete Hickman. He's kind of in no man's land at the moment. A big gap to Michael Dunlop ahead and a big gap to Dom Herbertson behind. So he's just got to keep focused, hitting his markers, keep on pushing.
Yeah, he had 11.2, didn't he, over Herbertson. Herbertson looks still under pressure from Brown, who's only 2 seconds back. Dunlop with his 10-second lead can roll off, but we don't think he's going to. Here comes Pierre Bihan through at the bungalow, and now back to Hickman.
Oh, and have a look at the crowd every time that shot pans back. Big crowd, everyone's out. They've waited through the rainy days, now have got some dry course. They're here to see some racing.
They are indeed. Senior day always brings out the biggest crowds. Dunlop is still pushing really hard. Absolutely, elbows dug in, almost touching under the tank. He's holding on so hard, getting into that slipstream position. He really is. Oh no! Red flag. That's down at Cregney Bar.
Red flag, race stops.
And Dunlop raises a hand to acknowledge the marshals. After an incident at Handley's on lap 2 of the second Super Twin race, the result was declared at the end of lap 1. So Michael Dunlop gets his 29th TT victory from Hickman and Brown.
The bike's been fantastic. Had credit to Lorenzo and Andrea. The bike's been mint all week. We had an issue at the start of the week and they worked endless amount of hours to make sure the bike's right. And 2 races, the bike ran a mint, no problems at all. Obviously, sad it was stopped, but at the same time, we pulled a nice gap. And we were nearly home. We were actually signpost, so a bit of a nightmare. But no, it's just the way it is.
We just don't quite have the top end, unfortunately, but yeah, I want to just say a massive thanks to Swan themselves, obviously, and my PHR Performance guys. You know, Dave in the workshop's been working super hard with this bike. We've made some massive steps from last year to this year, and you know, I don't know how long Patton's been here, but it's a long time. You know, so we only had 2 years worth of development, and they've had probably 10. So yeah, we're a long way behind them, but considering our little workshop, I don't think we've done too bad, really.
Yeah, I'm happy. Not the nicest way to get it. It's nice to finish a race, but no, it is what it is. We made big changes with the bike for that race, and it definitely worked, so it's given me confidence to go with the bike again, so I'm happy.
So Michael Dunlop making it 4 for the week in that shortened Super Twin race, and 29 in total, meaning a 5-star TT was very much on the cards for him. But the final race was about much more than just numbers. Prestige and a place in history for whoever could win the big one, the Senior TT. Join us for that one tomorrow night from 9 p.m.